Hello, everybody. Welcome to the session of the concepts that has to be discussed with respect to the linear convolution of the two of the given two sequences. Right. We will discuss the programs little later. Now let us just see the calculation part of it. Right. Now the linear convolution of the two sequences given x of n and h of n here. Now x of n is given as 1 2 3 2 1 3 4 with the origin at 2, right? Now the origin, in the sense the time index 0, it will be at this particular location. Therefore, since this is the origin, the sequence is starting from -3 and it is ending at +3, and we are just denoting that by a variable n1. So n1 is the starting index of this sequence and n2 is the end index of this sequence x of n, and l1 is the length of the sequence x of n. H of n, and here L1 value is equal to 7 because there are 7 samples in this particular sequence x of n, right? And the second sequence h of n is equal to, these are the samples of this particular sequence, that is 2 -3 4 -1 0 and 1, with the starting index of the second sequence being denoted as n3, which is equal to -1 because the arrow mark is being indicated at this location. Therefore the sequence immediately that is beside this origin is -1. Therefore the second sequence is starting from -1 and it is ending at +4, and it is been indicated by the variable n4, and the length of this sequence is being denoted as L2 here, and L2 is equal to 6 because there are 6 samples in this particular sequence h of n. Therefore, according to the formula to compute the length of the resultant sequence that we have, that is L is equal to L1 plus L2 minus 1, which is equal to 7 plus 6 minus 1 is equal to 12, right? The length of the first sequence is 7, the length of the second sequence is 6, therefore 7 plus 6 minus 1 is equal to 12 should be the length of the resultant sequence y of n, right? And that is being denoted by L here. Now we are supposed to compute the linear convolution. We know the notation of linear convolution is x of n convolution with h of n. This is the symbol which is used to denote the convolution. If I am just enclosing this by a circle suffix n, then that denotes the circular convolution. You all know that, right? And y of n is equal to, the formula of linear convolution is summation m varying from -infinity to +infinity x of m into h of n minus m, right? Now here the variable is m and here n appears first. Don't get confused. Therefore, according to this, we have analyzed, we have simplified this particular summation formula, convolution formula to the given sequences, and finally we have arrived at a conclusion that the m and n will maximum vary between these two range, that is n1 plus n3 to n2 plus n4. n1 is the starting index of the first sequence plus n3 is the starting index of the second sequence. Therefore we need to consider the sum of the starting indices of the two sequences to sum of the end indices of the two sequence, that is n2 plus n4. As we can just look at here, n2 is the end index of the first sequence, n4 is the end index of the second sequence. Therefore n1 plus n3 to n2 plus n4 will be the time index, will be the range that m and n, m is this and n is this, will vary. Therefore, according to this given example, it is -3 -1 to +3 +4. Therefore, it is -4 to +7. If I just split it up, it has to vary from -3 to +7 in this order, right? Therefore, if I just try to substitute in general for the formula, that is y of n is equal to summation m is varying from, instead of writing it from -infinity to +infinity, directly upon analyzing we have come to a conclusion that it is going to vary from n1 plus n3 to n2 plus n4, as we have written here. For this example, it is from -4 to +7, and that has been written here, that is m is varying from -4 to +7, x of m into h of n minus m. Now upon simplifying this particular formula, we will get the simplified version like this, that is x of, see, first value is m should be replaced by -4, and here we are supposed to compute both m as well as n is varying from minus 4 to plus 7. Therefore, y of n, this n is also varying from minus 4 to plus 7. Therefore, the starting point is minus 4, and hence we are just trying to find y of minus 4 for first in the beginning, and sequentially we will try to find y of minus 3, y of minus 2, y of minus 1, etc., till y of y of plus 7 we need to compute the result, right? Therefore, upon starting from the first time index, that is y of minus 4, and here also m is varying from minus 4 to plus 7, upon simplifying it we will be getting x of minus 4 into h of minus 4 is already here, and upon substituting the value, the limit for m here m is equal to minus 4 for the first time, because it is the lower limit. Minus into minus 4, it becomes plus 4, and it keeps on continuing as such, right? Therefore, x of minus 4 into h of minus 4 plus 4, this minus 4 here remains constant for all the parameter of h, right? Therefore, x of minus 4 into h of minus 4 plus 4, x of minus 3 into h of minus 4 plus 3, plus x of minus 2 into h of minus 4 plus 2, plus x of minus 1 into h of minus 4 plus 1, plus etc. We need to just simplify, we need to substitute the limit, and we need to write this expression, okay? And ultimately we will be getting x of 7 into h of minus 4 minus 7. Now, upon just further reducing that expression, we will be getting y of minus 4 as x of minus 4 into h of 0. Upon simplifying that, this is the expression, final split up of that particular summation that we are going to get here. Now, x of minus 4, you can just look at the expression, input over here. This input is starting from minus 3 and it is ending at plus 3, and the second sequence is starting from minus 1 and it is ending at plus 4. Now, wherever the values need to be substituted corresponding to these input, we need to substitute. Do we have x of minus 4 here? It is starting from minus 3, minus 4, no sample been defined there. Therefore, x of minus 4 is straight away 0. H of 0 is there somehow. H of 0 is minus 3. Right, h of 0 is minus 3, but minus 3 into 0, obviously the product is going to result with 0, and here we have x of minus 3, we have x of minus 3 that is equal to 1, and h of minus 1 we have, that is h of minus 1 is equal to 2. Therefore, 2 into 2, here it is 1, right? Sorry, 1 into 2, that is equal to 2. And x of minus 2, we have x of minus 2, but do we have h of minus 2? It is starting from minus 1 itself. We don't have any sample at minus 2 being defined. Therefore, its value thereafter, if I take minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, etc., those are all will be equal to 0. Therefore, wherever h of minus 2 and onwards are there, h of minus 2, h of minus 3, h of minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7, minus 8, minus 9, minus 10, minus 11, those values are all equal to 0. 0 multiplied with any value will be equal to always 0. Therefore, we will be getting the value for only this parameter, that is x of minus 3 into h of minus 1, that is 1 into 2, which is equal to 2 there, right? Now, this is how we can able to compute the values for y of n. This we have obtained for y of minus 4, right? Therefore, y of minus 4 is equal to 2, and similarly we need to substitute the value of n there. Here n value is minus 3, n value is minus 2. Now, upon substituting the value of n in your formula, and m obviously continuously vary from minus 4 to plus 7, isn't it? Upon splitting that summation by considering n value at a time, once for all, and continuously upon calculating the values for y of n, we will be getting these values. The y of minus 4 value is 2, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, etc., till y of 7. The values which are being given here are the final result of the convolution between the two sequence x of n and h of n. Therefore, it should be written finally in this form: y of n is equal to 2, 1, 4, etc., till y of 7, that is the value at y of 7 is equal to 4. This is how we can able to compute, we can calculate the linear convolution between any two sequences for any time indices. Okay, here the starting index is something and end index is something for the first sequence as well as the second sequence also. Whatever, if it is starting from origin, n1 will be equal to 0. If the second sequence is also starting from origin, therefore n3 will also be equal to 0, and for whatever the length it is been given, n2 and n4 will vary. Right, now this is how the linear convolution between any two sequence can be calculated. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and have a thorough preparation for the internals. All the best. Now coming to the program part of linear convolution between any two sequences. Here in the entire program we have only three important components which is been hidden here. Right, rest are all only to plot the sequences. The first sequence need to be plotted, second sequence need to be plotted, and we need to plot the resultant sequence as well. Right, now the major part of this particular program is the computation of linear convolution between the two sequence, and that is at this particular point, that is y is equal to CONV of the two sequence. CONV is a built-in library function which is used to compute the convolution between the first parameter and the second parameter. Right, now let us start from the beginning. X is a variable. Here small x has been considered. Small x is equal to input, enter the first sequence x of n is equal to. Now within single quote, whatever we type, the same thing will be displayed at the end when we run the program. Right, now input is a command to ask the user to enter the input from the keyboard, or otherwise here we can just straight away write x is equal to, within the square bracket we can straight away write the input and close the square bracket. Thereby the job of entering the input is done. But each and every time we need to change that input sequence whenever the examiner asks us to change the input. Right, now this is by default. Each and every time if I run the same program, it will prompt us to enter the input through the keyboard. Right, therefore try to make use of this command itself in order to enter the input. That is, x is equal to, x is a variable that we have considered here as one of the input to compute the convolution. Right, is equal to, input is a command to enter the first sequence, and n1 is equal to, as we have seen in the calculation part of linear convolution, we need to have the starting index and end index of the two sequences, isn't it? Now n1 is considered as the starting index of the sequence x of n. The same command, input, enter the starting index of x of n. N2, input, enter the end index of the of x of n. H, input, enter the second sequence. Here h is a small h is the variable which is used to load or store the second sequence. Right, input, enter the second sequence, h of n is equal to n4. Instead of n3, in the calculation part we have considered this as n3 and n4. Right, anything for that matter we can consider the variable, and the same variable has to be used wherever it is required. Right, here n4 is a variable we are considering to enter the starting index of the second sequence, and n5 as the variable to consider the end index of the second sequence. And y is equal to CONV of x comma h. CONV is, as I told you before, CONV, all in lowercase, no gap between anything. CONV of two parameters x and h. If I consider a and b, here also I need to consider as a comma b. If I consider p and q, here also I need to consider it as pq. Whatever I have defined, the same thing has to be used. Right, now disp linear convolution of so and so is y is equal to, within single quote, whatever I type within single quote, the entire statement will be displayed in the command window. Now disp is a command which is used to display certain things. If the disp is being used without the single quote, whatever the values that is being stored in that variable, now y is a variable I am using in this display, that y is a variable which is used to restore the resultant sequence, isn't it? Now the computed sequence is the resultant sequence of the linear convolution between x and h. Now that result will be displayed. Now after this message, that is equal to, in the next line the entire output sequence will be displayed. You can just observe there. And this is a comment, whatever which is been written in percentage symbol, percentage and the statement or the sentence, those are all comment, which is nothing to do with this particular program. Only to understand what this is, what the next line or the next piece of code is, we have been written with this comment. Right now it says graphical display with time information. Okay, nothing to do with the program. Now n3, here n3 is been considered to display the first sequence. Now the first sequence is starting from n1 and ending at n2, isn't it? Now it has to be written in this time frame. This is the syntax to consider the time index, that is n3 is equal to n1 colon n2. It means n1 to n2. Okay, now this sequence has to be considered to plot the first sequence, that is subplot. Since we are plotting the output waveform in this particular format, we are just plotting in this format. See, in the one figure window, 3 subplots are been displayed here, isn't it? Hence we are making use of that particular command, that is subplot and all, right? Therefore subplot three rows. In order to plot the three waveforms, 3 rows, 1 column. In that first subplot, I need to plot stem. N3 is the time index and X is a variable, a first input sequence, isn't it? X label, Y label, title, grid on just to get the grids on that particular waveform. And next piece of code is n6 is the time index. Since n4 n5 is been considered, next is n6. Since n3 was been missed out there, it has been considered here to represent the time index. And now to consider the time index in general for the second sequence, which is varying from n4 to n5, n6 has been used. Now subplot 3 rows, 1 column in general. In that second subplot, I am trying to plot stem n6 comma h. N6, the syntax or the command stem, which is used to plot the discrete sequence, and the parameter should be time index first and the signal next. If you try to interchange these two parameters, if you write the signal first and the time index next, you will get an error. Right? Students normally make the mistake in this particular point itself. Stem first time index should be mentioned. Now which time index we are considering here? It is the time index of the second sequence. If I am trying to plot the first sequence, see here n3 is the time index which has been considered here. That n3 is the time range for the first sequence, which is varying from n1 to n2, right? Therefore n3 is been considered. I cannot able to write here n1 is to n2. Okay, no, that has to be considered to one variable, and that variable, single variable, need to be included in as a first parameter for stem, and the second parameter is the signal. Similarly, h is the signal which I need to plot now in the second particular subplot. X label, Y label, title, grid on. You can give anything accordingly corresponding to the waveform that you are trying to plot, right? N is equal to, now this is with respect to the output. Now the output obviously has to range from n1 plus n to sum of the